Black people keep slipping on the exact same banana peel in the exact same place with a big sign saying, do not slip here. I'm going to react to a video by Greg Foreman, The Black Conservative Perspective, about Dr. Umar Johnson. You know who he is. You'll probably know I don't agree with most of the things that he says, but in this case, he nailed it, at least for the first part of what he was saying. And then I'll just break down and react to Greg Foreman.
The financial crisis within the African race. And I would say it's a Pan-Africanist issue because I see it throughout the diaspora and on the continent.
Okay.
Number one, we are married to capitalism.
Okay.
We do not practice cooperative economics. We do very little together financially. Most of our
I agree with that. So we are married to capitalism. He frames it as a bad thing. I would say we need to be more married to capitalism, and I'll explain why. The other thing he says is that we don't do things collaboratively. Now, this is how I break that down. Quite often we hear black groups and black people talking about collaboration and, building together and all of that. I have never been in an instance where the person that is saying that is looking to collaborate down. They're always looking to collaborate up. What I mean by that is they're looking to collaborate with companies that are bringing something to the table and pulling them up. They're never saying, all right, let me go find some smaller businesses than mine or some people that are trying to get up and running and let me back them. So this collaboration thing is just a marketing technique that people use in the black community. For me, I think we have enough black athletes, we have enough black celebrities, we have enough black people with wealth that if they truly wanted to collaborate, they could. But is that financially viable? I'm in a lot of groups that, are pro-black groups and for us, by us, and all of that. And my concern is this: we shouldn't be doing business with other people just because they're black. That should not be the deciding factor. It should be that they're excellent at what they do and they are black. If you are doing business with a company and you're trying to build something, and the only reason why you're doing business with them because they're black, then there's going to be a problem. You're not going to be able to build big systems that are sustainable or big businesses that are sustainable. What we need to be doing is doing things in excellence and then collaborating with each other in excellence. But quite often you have people like Dr. Umar, you have a lot of these black organizations that what they want to do is get free money from the government or from organizations that are giving them crumbs. They then use that to enrich themselves in the name of black people and black causes and advancing black people, but really they're just advancing themselves.
collective work is focused within religion, but it is not focused within economics. We are not building hospitals together. We are not building schools together. We are not building supermarkets together. We're not running farms together. We are not creating the institutions that we need. Cooperative economics is what's keeping African people behind the eight ball in comparison to all the other human families.
And that's true. And a lot of the words that you hear these people use, the diaspora and the continent and this, that, the other, I mean, let's just say what we're saying. All right. Let's just say if we're talking about black people, we're talking about black people. Don't say people of color. Don't use any of those colloquialisms that people use instead of just saying the thing. But the fact is this: like, we can build solid infrastructure, we can build hotels together, but like with anybody, we forget and we try to make it look like black people are unique in the aspect of personality or character traits, that we can just say, oh, we're more giving than everyone else or we're nicer than everyone else. The truth is, human beings are human beings and human nature will always take over. So before you just say, well, I'm going to work with someone because they're black, you have to work with people that have the same values as you. So I want to work with people that value what I value. I want to work with men who value their families, that respect their wives, regardless if they're black or white. Now, all things being equal, as someone from West Indian heritage, I'd rather work with another West Indian person. right? All things being equal. But I'm not going to do that just because they are Jamaican. And this is the problem. And this is where we make a lot of our mistakes in building what we're building. We need to build things in excellence. We can't trade on the whole it's a black owned business thing in exchange for delivering a good service. And that's what I find often happens in these groups. And usually the person at the top or the person that's organized this a group or organize this particular structure, quite often they're the people that are being dishonest and they're skimming money off the top. But all things being equal, we should be working with people who share our values and people that we know we can build together, and we would be able to build amazing things. One of the reasons why other communities are able to do this, and not everyone, it's a myth, it's we make it look like every other community is really good at this and they're not. That's not the fact. The fact is that we do it on some levels, but quite often the times that it is happening, everybody's not aware of it because maybe it's not some huge conglomerate. Maybe it's just a local community network of black owned businesses. And that's good. That's where we have to start. But other communities, they do structure it differently and it is more prominent and we're more aware of it. But we shouldn't put ourselves down and say that it never happens in our community because it actually does.
When you look at Chinese, when you look at European Jews, when you look at the Arabs, when you look at East Indians, Anglo-Saxons, everybody's working together on some level. Those communities are not utopias either, but they do cooperate economically.
100%.
They'll buy a whole street and
Yeah. And because they're not always running around saying, we love socialism, we love capitalism. Because most of those people come from failed socialist or failed communist countries. The difference with black people is we quite often, a lot of the black leaders, and I will call some of them grifters, the difference is what they do is they bash America. All they're doing is bashing America and the original sin and all these things. We can acknowledge that slavery was horrible. Slavery took advantage of a people group. Yes. However, it doesn't mean now that we're trying to move to the next level, everything has to be everything has to be hooked to that narrative, or we have to make people feel sorry for us. Other people groups aren't doing that. They're just building, they're leaning into capitalism, they're using their economic power. But you can't, on the one hand, say you want to build hotels and structures and build these different communities and then say you hate capitalism, because capitalism is about individual ownership. It's about building things that people will exchange their money for. So as we go into this video and I react, you're going to see that what Dr. Umar is saying and articulating, a lot of the surface level stuff is 100% correct. So his diagnosis in some instances is correct, but his cure is completely wrong.
turn it into businesses for their community.
100%.
They'll buy a whole shopping mall and turn it into businesses for their community. We don't do that. We are allergic to using our money to further our reality. Understand this.
And another thing, like when other communities, so you do have like in most bigger cities, you have like a little China, a little, Italy, a little Vietnam, all of those things. And there will be some businesses within there, a lot of businesses actually, that are focused on their traditional values or traditional foods. However, they will also cater to the broader audience. So they're not just building something that is an ecosystem for only them. That does exist, absolutely. But they also want to bring other people in. So we can't build neighborhoods and communities and structures that we're saying we only want Black people to frequent, because Black people are not a large enough percentage of the population to make that business thrive. And when you couple that with the fact that quite often we don't provide the best service, we don't provide things in excellence. And I'm not saying that's unique to Black people. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we build these structures that we just want to sell the fact that it's Black owned, instead of saying we are the number one business in our vertical. So this is one of the reasons why I take issue with these segmentations of award shows, or these segmentations of expos and conferences where people are winning the Black Business of the Year award. I don't want the Black Business of the Year award. I want the Business of the Year award. So I want to be recognized as the best business in whatever vertical I'm in amongst everybody. That's not to say we cannot create carve outs to, in addition to that, not instead of, in addition to that, recognize Black excellence. I've always wondered this: if you took all of the top Black actors and they said, you know what, we're going to build some studios in Ghana, or we're going to build some studios in Zimbabwe, or any African country, just build some studios. I know for a fact in Nigeria, there's enough millionaires and billionaires that if Denzel Washington was to just put his name beside a project, that project, Denzel wouldn't have to come out with a penny out of his own pocket. But if he was to commit, and these Black actors were to say, we're going to build studios out there, we're going to produce films and movies and TV series out there, that would be the solution. So I'm not saying we have to ban Hollywood or we have to boycott the Oscars. Why not just build some studios out there? It would give employment to the people out there. It would create a center of excellence for film and media and all of that. And these celebrities could then not even put their money where their mouth is. They could put their celebrity where their mouth is. Instead of trying to knock the Oscars and saying, well, enough Black people aren't winning this, that, and the other. A lot of people don't realize that Nollywood, so the Nigerian film industry, is huge. So you could have a lot of Black actors actually starting to produce films out there, build lots, kind of like what Tyler Perry did, but just do it in Africa. These things would be the solution, because with certain things like comedy, so for example, someone is either funny or they're not. You can't make someone believe someone's funny if they're not. So if they're creating and producing exceptional film and exceptional projects in Africa in these studios that are backed by these big American celebrities, people would watch them, because if they're good, they're good. The operating expenses, I imagine, would be a lot lower. But this is how you leverage capitalism. But you can't say you want to build these big things, hate capitalism, want to be socialist or communist, and then be shocked when you go broke, which apparently this video is saying that Dr. Umar Johnson is having financial issues. If that's the case, I feel bad for him. He has a family. I don't wish that on anybody. But it's a symptom of the problem of hating capitalism and just trying to lean into all Black causes, because they never produce big results that are sustainable. So you'll have things like BLM that will generate a lot of money for a few people, but where are they now?
People who are politically disorganized will be economically disorganized. Your economic disorganization will feed your political disorganization.
Boy. So we got to talk about a hilarious video that is going viral of the Prince of Panhandleism, Dr. Umar Johnson, also known as the Prince of Pan-Africanism, okay, who is apparently broke, okay? He's broke, and he claims that he's broke because they froze his accounts, yet he is asking for donations via PayPal and Apple Pay. Now, what is hilarious about this is that this guy has been asking for donations, begging Black people for donations for years to build a school that this guy has not built, but yet, he runs around begging for more money, and stupid people continue to send him money, and he doesn't have anything to show for it, right? And him being broke now is no surprise to me, because guys like this, they love to talk a big game, especially about economics, right? But when it comes down to their own personal finances, right, their own personal economics and their life, they're not very good, okay? Which is why his school has not been open, right? Because you can't trust these clowns with money, right? The downfall of a Black activist is always going to be finances, right? Because apparently they have no clue how to manage money. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
With that being
Before we get into that, one of the things that I do want to add is a lot of companies fail. A lot of businesses fail. A lot of nonprofits fail. So this is not unique to the Black community. It's not unique to Dr. Umar Johnson. But I will say it is a symptom of a problem that is caused by some of the worldviews that he has. And the fact that you only have one account and you're dealing with, complex building structures, etc., is a little bit questionable. And it makes you question and distrust the narrative if he's saying that his bank account was frozen, but yet he's asking for donations via PayPal, as Greg Foreman is saying.
Said, brothers and sisters, Dr. Umar has access to no money right now because my personal account contains all of my money. I only send it to Apple Pay and PayPal as necessary. So the Prince of Pan-Africanism, for the first time in my life, is without any digital currency. So for my loyal supporters out there, if you can spare a few dollars so I can take care of Queen Mother Ifatunde and myself until my bank account is frozen.
And this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the proof is in the eating of the pudding. Apparently, that's what you're supposed to say. But let's just see how many people, all of these people that watch his videos and repost his videos, let's see how many people actually support him. I think this would be a good news story if he could give us an update and say, you know what, I have had donations in the amount of X. People should really support him, because I know a lot of people online that are big fans of Dr. Umar. I'm not, but the people that are should actually support him, should send him money, because hopefully the reason why they support him and the reason why they watch his videos is because they believe that what he's doing is a good thing. And based on that, that should mean that they trust that he is genuinely trying to build this school. And based on that, they should trust and believe that he is in this predicament, and therefore they should help him. If they don't help him, then this would be a situation where you have to question their morals or their actual support of someone who they consider, doing good work. Right. So let's just see how many people actually support him. And you have to also think about the fact that where are they going to get the money? Probably from their jobs. So it's a full cycle with this capitalism thing. We can hate it, but he's using the systems, the digital systems that were built through capitalism to now get the support that he needs. And I hope people do support him. I hope his fans come through for him, because, as I said, that would be a good news story.
Or canceled so I can get my money back and open up a new account, please hit my Apple Pay or hit my PayPal. I've never asked the people for $1. I have never asked the people for $1 in my life. I have never asked the people for $1 in my life. I've only asked you to donate to the FDMG Academy for Boys. I don't have any sons. I have 2 daughters. So the FDMG campaign is a selfless project, mission, and service to provide our boys with the education that they deserve. But
so why hasn't it been built yet? Why hasn't it been built? Why don't you have anything to show for it? Right? I've never asked anybody for any money in my life. Okay, so all that money that supposedly is going towards this school, this academy, whatever, why is it that this dude has nothing to show for it if none of it ever went into your pocket personally? Does everybody understand that this makes no sense, right? This makes absolutely zero sense. He's saying, now, oh, well, the donations are for me personally. So how do you make your money, right? How do you make your own personal money? Now, again, I guess some people could say that he does, talk shows, or he'll go on the Breakfast Club or whatever, right? He'll do these appearances for money. And that is probably how he makes money, right? But the question is if you're making all this money, according to him, he's not making money from the donations to the school, right? Then why is it that you're broke, right? Why are you broke? Okay? You mean to tell me you keep all your money in one account, right? You don't have multiple accounts that you spread your money around in just...
My other question would be, if he could find himself in this predicament, which, there's no reason for me not to believe what he's saying. Imagine if the school were up and running. Would you trust someone who, through, a bank or multiple banks, but he's saying a bank freezing his assets, would you trust them with a school. I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense. He does not seem to be as financially literate as he is pro-black literate, because he seems like, he seems like he's well read in that area. So again, this is not a dig against him, but this just, it sounds fishy, but I hope people support him.
Just in case one of the accounts get frozen, right? You taking all these trips overseas and you're not using any credit cards. Again, it doesn't sound right to me, because, when you go overseas, it's definitely better for you to use credit than cash, right? You definitely should probably have a credit card if you're going overseas, okay? Again, for situations like this, okay? So again, he just seems to be all around financially irresponsible. This is like a standard thing for people that got a lot of money. You don't keep all your money in one account, right? At one bank, okay? You spread it around here and there, right? Just in case one bank goes under, okay? You good, right? Just in case one account gets frozen, you got another account. You don't put all your money in one account at one bank. So again, something just ain't sitting right with me, okay, about this. Something ain't sitting right. Regardless, there are people who are going to still continue to donate to this guy, right? They're going to listen to this and say, oh, yeah, this sounds about right, right? Let me send this man a few more dollars. Probably liberal black women, okay, who this guy appeals to, because that's essentially what he's doing. He's simping to the liberal black woman because the liberal black woman is overly emotional, right? And all you got to do is just pull at the heartstrings of her emotions, and that's how you can get her to empty her pockets, right? And send money to this guy. And the worst part about it is that you're going to have these so-called pro-black platforms like the Breakfast Club and all these other podcasts. They're going to continue to host this guy, right? They're going to continue to host this dude who is taking all this money from black folks.
Well, let's see if that happens, and let's see if they actually ask him some hard questions. Because to me, if he's going on the Breakfast Club with someone as business savvy as someone like Charlemagne, hopefully Charlemagne will ask those questions, or at least give him some advice on how to structure what he's doing better. And this is where I'm saying we don't operate in excellence, and we're not necessarily holding each other to excellence. It's that phrase, I think, where Dr. Umar is a useful tool to a lot of people. So he's a voice that they can have on their platform to get clicks, to get views, to say the things that they don't want to say about, systematic racism, etc., to make themselves feel small. But more importantly, I think they're using him, because all of these different platforms that put him on and give him a voice, he should be going to them. He should be surrounded with black community leaders that he doesn't even have to make this appeal. Really, this should be saying, he should be releasing a video saying, listen, my bank accounts got frozen and, I hit a financial bump, but the network of black people that have supported me up until this point, and influential black people, I'm good. They set me straight. I'm good. That's what should be happening. He should not be appealing to regular people who are probably finding it difficult to make ends meet for themselves.
And he has nothing to show for. I mean, millions of dollars raised, okay, allegedly, right? Allegedly millions of dollars raised, and he doesn't have anything to show for it at all when it comes to the academy, right? But yet, according to him, none of that money's ever went in his pockets, right? It's all just went into the school. It went into the academy, right? None of it ever went into his pockets. But again, nothing to show for it. Don't people find that to be strange? And now all of a sudden, he's talking about he's broke, right? He needs money. He needs donations, claiming that his bank account is frozen.
See, I think with that, this is where, there's transparency is key. I think with these black organizations, one of the reasons why they're not successful, I think quite often a lot of the people at the top are dishonest. But if you had transparency, if they ran these organizations and these businesses in a way that was transparent, you could see how much money was going in, how much money was being spent. I don't care if Dr. Umar is giving himself a good salary, because he's doing the work. But I'd like to see that. You can't operate these businesses without any level of transparency. And then when it goes left, ask for money. Because the first question should be, well, let me see your books. Like, if I have a business and I got a business loan from a bank, and, things start to go wrong, I have to go back in there with my business plan. I have to go back in there and explain to them how the money has been spent. So in this situation, you have someone that has been raising, if it's truthful, millions, and now it has bank accounts frozen, or potentially maybe he's not raising that much. And even that, we should have some transparency and accountability around that. Not for me, because I've never given him a penny, but for people that have platformed him and given him money, I think he does. They deserve some openness and some transparency where he's explaining exactly which account got frozen, how much was in it, and how much money has gone towards building this academy that I'm not sure if there, is even a foundation for the academy at this point.
Which again, I just find to be strange that he doesn't have multiple bank accounts, just in case something like this happens. I mean, I remember dealing with a situation like this not too long ago, about a year ago. It was a terrible situation put it this way, it was an annoying situation to try to get out of. But it's certainly possible for you to have your account unfrozen and to get things going again. So again, there's just a lot of things that just are off about this. But again, my point is that I guarantee you, these so-called pro-black platforms, they're going to continue to platform this dude, even though he just continues to suck money out the pockets of black folks, and he has absolutely nothing to show for it, right? He has nothing to give back outside of hate and division, to be honest with you. It's sad. It really is.
Right now, I don't have any money because my account was frozen by my bank because someone has been trying to hack into my account, hack into FDMG Academy account. So the FDMG Academy account is
I've worked in banking for over 30 years. If you watch my mortgage channel, you know that because I say it all the time. But this does not sound right. This does not sound. So he's saying that the bank froze his account because someone is trying to hack into his account. In that case, what they would usually do is close the account, get you to come into the branch and verify who you are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, open a new account and transfer your funds into that new account. They don't just freeze your account and ruin your financial stability. They wouldn't do that. Yes, they're going to protect you. And yes, they might freeze your account, but it wouldn't happen long enough for you to have to be raising money, because ultimately it's not saying that you're going to lose any money. It just means you don't have access to money right now. So I will be honest, that does not sound like the full story. Maybe he's embarrassed to say what the full story is, and so he's come up with this thing. But I've worked in banking long enough to know that that's not how it works. And if one of my bank accounts gets frozen, I wouldn't need to go to the public to borrow money. I might need to hit up some friends and family, say I need something for the next couple of days. But this doesn't sound right.
frozen. My personal account is also frozen. That means we're going to lapse on our utility bills. We're going to lapse on our internet bill. We're going to lapse on a lot of our bills at FDMG. The bank is not giving me a timeline as to when this situation is going to be resolved. If I don't have Cash App, nor does FDMG have Cash App. I do not have a Cash App. I only have Apple Pay and PayPal. If you can spare a few dollars, send it to my Apple Pay, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, or my PayPal, paypal.me/Umar the Psychologist. Although Leo season is off to a rocky start, brothers and sisters, we will overcome. Shout out to all my donors. Newark, New Jersey, I'ma see you. Nat Turner, I'ma see you. Mobile, Alabama, I'ma see you. New Orleans, Louisiana, Hurricane Katrina, I'ma see you. Kenya, January, I'ma see you. FDMG is coming. We just got to lay down on floors, brothers and sisters. Lay down on floors, and we applying for our certificate of occupancy. I don't have any money in my pocket because my account is frozen. If you could send a few dollars to Dr. Umar for Apple Pay or PayPal, I would greatly appreciate it. Black Queens forever. Snow Bunnies never. Enjoy your weekend. Leo season forever.
What is that about? What is that about? And yeah, this sounds a little bit shady, I have to say. I hope he's not in that predicament, because that's a horrible situation to be in. But it doesn't sound right. Like, yeah, there's just more credible ways that he could go about demonstrating that this has happened. And like, there's no utility company that I know of, and I've been working in banking and finance. I did collections, all of that if your bank account is frozen and all of your accounts are up to date, you're not going to lapse on anything. You may go, 30 days past due, and yeah, it just doesn't sound right. And any adult that's watching this, you will know that that's not how it works. You don't not have money today and then you lapse on all of your accounts tomorrow. Even if the due date on all of them was tomorrow, it would be another 30 days before it's even kind of an issue. And at that point, you would just contact the bank. You would be able to, or the utility company, you'd easily be able to produce something from the bank, because the bank would send you something saying, we've frozen your account because we believe people have tried to hack or do fraudulent. So you'd have the documentation. You'd let the supplier know it's just a short-term thing. It's going to be resolved and you're good. Like, what he's saying doesn't make sense.
Ever. Peace and Pan-Africanism.
Black queens forever, snow bunnies for never. Wow. Again, that's what I'm talking about. His audience, he knows his audience. Liberal black women, they want somebody to simp for him, and this dude is simping hard. But hey, it works, right? It works. He's a psychologist, so he certainly understands psychology and psychological techniques. Like, for example, the reason why he keeps repeating himself when he doesn't really need to is because he's trying to hammer home certain important things that he wants the audience to know. Like, for example, how to reach him, right? How to donate to him, okay? To give him the money, right? And you can tell this dude is he's definitely one of these guys that he knows exactly what's going on, right? He knows what time it is. And it's just sad that people have continued to platform this guy to give him credibility when he's already shown himself to be a failure, an absolute failure, a joke, and embarrassment, right? But who knows? Maybe this guy actually really did get scammed. Okay. Again, he claimed that there was some fraudulent activity on his account. Somebody tried to log in his account or get into his account or whatever. Who knows? Okay. I believe he may or may not be in South Africa. So maybe the ancestors are working overtime. Maybe he got scammed by one of them Nigerian scammers, right? Maybe that's what happened.
I imagine the true story and whatever is really going on will come out eventually. I wish him all the best if he is, if this is legitimate. I hope that the people that he surrounds himself with and the people that have liked and commented on his videos and forwarded them, I hope those people will come through for him. I hope that he will see an example of Black unity in his time of need. But ultimately, this is one of the problems with a lot of these Black structures. Clearly, objectively, you can say he hasn't structured his personal finances in a viable way, because one account being frozen, in his words, not mine, I'm not taking a dig at him, is causing his utility bills, not necessarily just his, but also for the academy to lapse. So it's having all of these impacts. So we can objectively agree, whether you agree with his politics or disagree with his politics, he hasn't structured his business in a way that is resilient, right? And this is the problem. So if he expects for other organizations or companies to partner with him, as he was saying at the beginning, or collaborate with him, the fact that he hates white people is not good enough, because his structures are not sound enough that I would feel comfortable if I did have money or if I did have a business that I'd want to partner or collaborate based on what's going on with him right now. So I'm all for people choosing who they want to work with and what communities they want to build. More power to you. But don't trade on the I'm a bald-headed businessman, or I'm a Black businessman, or I'm a woman. Create a service or a product that is exceptional. Support your customers, provide good value, continually iterate, and your business will rise. Now, in addition to that, if you then feel that you want to help other businesses from your community, then do that. If you want to start organizations to support whatever interest you have, then do that. But I just think it's just like really bad to just trade on this one particular thing. And in most cases, I find that the people that are doing that are taking advantage of the people that with a good heart are saying, well, I'm going to support this business because it's female owned or it's black owned or whatever. But then more so, it discredits the entire community when you have things like BLM, where they were given hundreds of millions, and then you hear these stories about individuals buying mansions, etc. That's my beef. All right. We can do better than this. And we don't have to divide ourselves into a subgroup and then not even make that subgroup sustainable. Let's get out there. Let's do the work. Let's do things in excellence in a way that it will attract investment. Let's build systems that are robust, that we can build systems that will build legacy that we can pass on to our kids. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you check out Black Conservatives Perspective. Greg Foreman has some really interesting takes. Sometimes I agree with them, sometimes I don't. But the core of most of his conversations I appreciate, which is why I react to his videos. He's almost at 1 million subscribers. I'd love to see him get there. I don't know him personally. So if someone could just tag it and forward it to him, it would be great. I do want to see him successful. And make sure you like and subscribe, and make sure you put a comment in the comments if you disagree with anything I've said. As I always say, I'm just a guy with an internet connection and a webcam. So I don't have it all figured out, but I do like sharing my thoughts.